hello, welcome. See, I always wear this mask. I have come to feel that it's really very important to me, to my family, and to anybody else that I know is to have my mask, because that's a protection. Now, that's the end of any lecturing, but I do want to remind everybody, keep your mask in your pocket and be ready to put it on. Of course, this is stories, and we're doing it from the house, and I'm very glad to be there. I looked at the calendar, and we're just a few days from Christmas, and then a few days after that, well, it's more than a few, but a week or 10 days, we've got a new year coming after us or at us. So I've tried to give you something that I thought was really important and that will say something about it. It's a story, but hopefully it'll be helpful or meaningful. Snow and ice. We had snow yesterday and ice on the roads. It's melted with a beautiful sun today. But it sets a scene for what I'm going to talk about. And it moves us closer to Christmas. And then after Christmas, it will be New Year's. And then it will start 20 to 21, another new year. Last night, I talked to my sister, 5 states away. She lives in Georgia. And we laughed and laughed as we remembered the Christmas day we walked over to my grandmother's house for gifts and a family supper on a Christmas day. It was snowing. And we had a long way to go. My daddy was just back from India, World War II. They didn't have a car, but we had a wagon that was a wooden wagon, and it had all painted red mostly. I was the oldest of the 3 children, and so my other sisters were in the wagon. They were younger, and Linda was 2 years younger than me, and Kathy 5. Daddy was, of course, pulling her. And so we laughed and laughed last night because I was startled how much she remembers. And actually, it gave me a bigger picture of what we would see when we got there. Do you do that? Remember a day that you were really 100% happy? That's what we were, happy. And we walked home with Daddy pulling that wagon in more snow coming down. It was a wonderful day. I was 8 years old. My sister Linda and I were also just home from Sacred Heart Academy, a boarding school about an hour away from Charlotte, run by the Sisters of Mercy. And my mother had placed us in there a year and a half before when Daddy went overseas, and she had a job. And she used, it was hard. It was hard for her. But the thing that happened was that polio came streaming through Charlotte that summer, the summer of 1944. Scared her witless. She had a job, she had to go to a lot of responsibilities, and I snuck out of the yard and went away like you weren't supposed to do. And it was dangerous, and she was scared. And then she heard from her aunt that my cousin had just died and that she was 5 years old and she'd been in a swimming pool and she had polio. Well, that makes an impression on a parent. So she called the sisters out at Sacred Heart, and Linda and I went out there. Now, we had a great time. There were only 5 children. We were 2. Yeah, we were 2. And then there were 3 others. For the summer, And we had great times. But the best thing in the world that did for us was Sister Loyola. Sister Loyola was a small woman. She was short and she was talkative and she knew stories right out of her mouth. She knew stories to tell children when they were with her all day. And she had prayers to teach you, songs to sing with you. She was always ready and energetic. This was a farm, and we could go out and see the animals. There were all sorts of things. None of this was dangerous to us. Well, when the September came, I was now 8. I had gone there when I was 7. I was now 8. School opened in a little white school on the back of the property, and that's where the teachers had their classes. And I was in Sister Loyola's 3rd grade. I was thrilled. There was only one class of 3rd graders. We were in the class, we were learning things, and the 2nd or 3rd Friday that we were in that class, she stopped the class before it was over, and she said, "Get out your paper, get out your pencils. We're going to write letters this afternoon." Why? We're going to write letters? Why would we do that? For your mama and your daddy. Ellouise, I know your daddy's a long way away from home, and your mama's just down the road, but she needs to know that you can do a letter and what you have to say. So she taught me how to write a letter. I loved that, and I have loved letters desperately ever since then. I write them myself. I buy them at bookstores if they're in there in a box with dirt and dust all over them. I bring them home. They're just wonderful things. So the prize in my mind that I brought here today is a letter. It's a letter from my ever best friendly person. Her name was Betsy. And she wrote this letter in 2013 to send to all of her friends. A close group, but she sent it each one individually. Would you believe that 3 days ago, I looked at where you have a group of people that answers and they put things down and they write it and you're on there. Well, I checked in on those classmates of mine, and there was a man who had put up a letter, and I looked at it and I read it and I started crying. It was from Betsy. I knew that letter. I knew it very well. She wrote it as a Christmas card in 2013, and I want to read it to you. I have loved it. I hope you'll like it. When I was 10 years old, she says, it snowed on Christmas Eve. Not a lot of snow, but enough to coat the North Carolina ground with unexpected white blanket of snow. It was the only year we put our Christmas tree in the front of the bay window in the dining room. Whenever I hear Gene Autry sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I can close my eyes and transport myself back 67 years to the floor in front of that tree with the bubble lights above my head and the lighted cardboard village spread out in front of me. I am warmed when I sit there by the cold furnace, clean flannel pajamas, and my fuzzy slippers. That memory contains all the peace and magic and sense of excitement that a 10-year-old little girl can feel on Christmas Eve. There have been many Christmas Eves for me since then, Like all of us, some have been hard. Some have lacked the Christmas spirit, and many have been magical, absolutely magical. This year, I am feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the people who have been a part of my life, those to whom I am connected by memories, by love, and by good fortune. My world is filled with those who have gone before me, and by those who travel with me now, and by those who will journey after me. Maybe I can't conjure up all the peace and magic sense and excitement of that 10-year-old little girl at Christmas, but I can certainly think of you, all of you, with joy and thanksgiving, and that's what I'll be doing this Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, love, Betsy. She was my bestest friend forever, until last year. And then she took her journey and went further on, and I'll be the next to come by. I'll be in a group that comes behind her later. I'm still here. But I love this letter because it sits down to tell friends, family, and people that you love and that you've enjoyed and that you have really just thought of. And I think that next week, I'll be sitting with a stack of paper and I'll be picking out some people that I want to send some special letters to. I'm so grateful to my friend Dobby, who put her letter up on the internet first. But that didn't stop me. I went immediately to find this letter that I have. And with it, there was a yellow sticky stuck on it. She always did that. We exchanged things, and she gave me stickies to see that everything was okay. And her sticky says, "Let me know what you think of this. Hugs, Betsy." I'm letting you know what I think of that. I hope you have a wonderful holiday time and that we see beautiful, beautiful days in 2021. I'll be back with another show. And if you have a chance to find letters, good grief, don't let any of them get away from you until you've read them well. Bye-bye.